Family first became aware of and involved with Nation Rising in 2018 at their first march and rally in Ottawa. It was kind of like a coincidental experience, actually. Our girls were out in Ontario for Veg Camp, and we just happened to be there at the right time to be able to run to Ottawa from Toronto and attend this amazing event. And it was probably one of the turning points in my life and one of the most amazing experiences of my life to sort of march. It was my first time in Ottawa, so march in the capital of the country with 200 other like-minded people who were promoting a message of change for the better. And so I guess in that way, Nation Rising kind of stole my heart. And when I came back, I really wanted to start a local chapter, and I found mostly it's been on social media. So we're hoping that we can have some more actions happening here locally. Okay, so on June 23rd of this year, Nation Rising sent an open letter to the government. And that letter is asking Canada to transition to a plant-based food system, and specifically to prevent future pandemics. You can read that letter at nationrising.ca, or I have a copy here that I'll take over to the Nation Rising table there. So basically, there's a video playing at the Nation Rising table. I don't know if it's up yet, but it will be. And it's about doing lobbying as citizens and how we can get politically involved and do some of that lobbying. So Margaret is also over there, and she can answer any questions you have. She has an incredible talent for talking to her elected officials, and she's a great guide for that. Her and I both talked to our elected officials in the last campaign of Nation Risings, and we each sat in on each other, so I have witnessed her skill at talking to someone who really doesn't agree. And that letter actually has a petition attached to it that you can also sign, and you can find that petition at endfactoryfarming.ca. And over 1,500 people have already signed that petition. Okay. Next, we have Food Not Bomb Saskatoon. So I found out there was a Food Not Bomb Saskatoon here quite a few years ago and joined their group, but I don't live in Saskatoon. I'm from Melfort. So I haven't been able to be involved at all, except for like as a passive observer on their group. I was so excited to find that this group existed in Saskatchewan because I've known about Food Not Bombs, the organization, for so long, and I just love everything about the way that all the values and principles that are part of this group. So they're here today. This is how they describe it. So when 1 billion people go hungry each day, how can we spend another dollar on war? Food Not Bombs is an all-volunteer movement that recovers food that would otherwise be discarded and shares free vegan and vegetarian meals with the hungry in over 1,000 cities in 65 countries in protest to war, poverty, and the destruction of the environment. They're not a charity, but dedicated to taking non-violent direct action. Their movement has no headquarters or positions of leadership, and they use the process of consensus to make decisions. They also provide food and supplies to the survivors of natural disasters and people participating in occupations, strikes, marches, and other protests. In Saskatoon, they serve meals and also deliver food hampers to people in need. They have a Facebook group, like I mentioned, and it exists to aid in organizing and communicating with one another. And they always welcome new members and work together to build community, as well as network with like-minded organizations and people. So you can see that they've got some upcycled shirts with their logos on them. They look awesome, and they're also collecting donations of food. So go check them out. What was I going to say? Oh, I should also say, if you're interested, the programs for this event are over on that first table. They list like the schedule of events. So you might be interested to know what's coming up for the main stage here, other than just me talking. Okay. We have Anonymous for the Voiceless here, or AV as we call it for short. That's an animal rights organization that specializes in edifying the public on the streets through these powerful Cube of Truth demonstrations. I don't know if you've seen them. We've been running them in the city for quite a few years. And what we do is we wear TVs in a cube formation with a Guy Fawkes mask on, and we just stand still in this cube and people can witness the industry, the animal agriculture industry on the TVs, and then there's people outside of the cube who are talking with them, who are the people kind of helping them process what they're seeing and trying to have those conversations about what's going on with animals. It's a really powerful form of activism in terms of, like, for myself, I'm an introvert, and I find it really sometimes hard to do the outreach aspect of it, but I love to stand with the mask on and just like look out and watch people's reactions. It's very emotional for me, because the footage is very powerful. Most of it comes from the movie Dominion. That's primarily what they're using now as the footage for the Cube of Truth demonstrations. So if you've seen that movie, you kind of know what sort of images they might be being exposed to, and oftentimes it's for the first time that people are seeing it. So it's really powerful. So AV actually has 2 chapters in Saskatchewan, and we have representatives from both the Regina chapter and the Saskatoon chapter here today. And we're lucky because both chapters received what was called AV funding. So we were able to purchase TVs and portable batteries, so we're really well set up. But we haven't been very active lately because we just haven't had a lot of, well, of course, COVID, and also we just haven't had a lot of volunteers who have been able to do cubes. But it would be awesome to get back on the streets and start doing them again. Okay, also, of course, we have Animal Save Movement here. If you don't already know about the Animal Save Movement, they have 4 branches now. So they started off as the Save Movement, I think about 12 years ago. And they quickly realized that there's multiple issues that people are facing in terms of that can be helped by a plant-based approach. So they split themselves into 3 branches, and then they added a 3rd branch just recently. So they have the Animal Save Movement that still does the love-based bearing witness kind of activism approach. They have the Climate Save Movement that's really focusing on how animal agriculture and the climate devastation that we're witnessing all around us are connected. And then they have the Health Save Movement, because I think we're all aware, and in fact, there was just a big study released about how effective a plant-based diet is for heart disease, for example. And our health is really being impacted by animal industries, I guess, and eating animal products. So that's what the Health Save Movement's role is. And then more recently, I don't know if you're familiar with a young lady named Genesis Butler in the United States. She's a really powerful voice of veganism. She spearheaded another branch of the ASM called the Youth Climate Save Movement. So those are the 4 branches. And this table right beside me here is Regina Pig Save. And we've had a chapter here in the province since 2016. The previous organizers spoke at Saskatchewan's first VegFest, which maybe you didn't even know happened because it was so far away from here. It was at the Forever Micro Ranch Sanctuary in Frontier, Saskatchewan in 2016. And unfortunately, Forever Micro Ranch has since relocated to Ottawa. But it was a really great event at the time. I wasn't at it, but I saw about it on Facebook. It was just too far for me to travel as well. Frontier is like almost in the States. So anyways, a new organizing team, including myself, took over in 2018 because the organizer moved to Manitoba. So we held our first vigil at Thunder Creek Pork in Moose Jaw on August 25th, 2018. And since that time, vigils have been held, just depends on availability of activists and kind of what's happening around, but we try to hold them weekly at Moose Jaw, and that's where we bear witness and extend a compassion to hundreds of pigs each time that we're there being taken to their deaths. And it's actually a really powerful place to bear witness, because you get a glimpse of the animals in the trucks as they're being backed into the slaughterhouse, and then you're able to bear witness the entire time that they're being unloaded. So you can hear their screams of terror. So one of the big things, of course, that we have to do as part of that group is to really support one another. We do have a vigil tomorrow there, and also our 3rd anniversary vigil is scheduled for October 29th. Regina Pig Save has also spearheaded other events, such as the official Animal Rights March in Regina that we held in 2019, rodeo protests, banner drops. We've had some special vigils, and we just had some get-togethers with one another as well. One of the big campaigns that's just coming out with the Animal Save Movement is the Plant-Based Treaty. And I might have a chance to talk about it a bit later, but there's some postcards here related to the plant-based treaty. They're on that table between AV and the Regina Pig Safe table that has all the pamphlets and information on it. So you can just go grab one. The intent is, of course, for you to consume the information that's on them and kind of understand what the plant-based treaty is about. But if you can mail it to elected officials like mayors, your MLA, or member of parliament, just to really get them aware that we know that the plant-based lifestyle is the way to go forward for the environment, to prevent future pandemics, and for our own health. Saskatchewan Climate Save, we don't actually have a table set up right now. We have a little bit of information here, but we just ran out of places to hang banners. It's a chapter of the Climate Save movement, as I mentioned, and we attended our first event actually as Climate Vegan at the time. The Climate Save movement didn't even exist yet. On September 18th, 2018, and that was at the Global Rise for Climate in Saskatoon. And as a group, we've attended climate strikes across the province and in other provinces as well. We've done other actions such as marches, banner drops, and participated in global pressure campaigns. If we do get our banner out today, you'll see one of them, it's against Cargill and chalking. Also, Animal Rebellion. We don't actually have an official table here either for Animal Rebellion, and partly it's because we've struggled to gain momentum here in Saskatchewan. But if you're interested and want to get connected, please, you can talk to pretty much any one of us and they'll point you to the right person. Anyone that's kind of, sitting around trying to set up tables right now can point you to the right person. In the past, we have had collection actions here in Saskatchewan for Fridays for Future, Climate Justice Saskatoon, Extinction Rebellion, and the Climate Save movement. It's absolutely critical that we start taking action together and acting collectively for the issues we're all facing. You may have seen in the UK that Animal Rebellion has recently had some major successes. They had some powerful disruptive actions that shut down McDonald's distribution centers and their meat production. And they have another rebellion happening soon. So we're kind of getting calls to make sure that if we can't be there, that we're sharing about what's been going on, what they're doing, and what kind of actions they're taking. So if you're on social media, start following Animal Rebellion and just try to share that information. So you'll probably also see that Margaret is selling some fresh veggies over there. She's raising money for the future VegFest, so please go and shop from Margaret's Garden. Also, we have a barbecue happening over there with Margaret, and we'll be serving soul burgers and Eats Veggie Dogs there. Again, that's another fundraiser for future VegFests. And also next to Margaret, you'll see Erica Patmore is here with her artwork. And you can take a look at what she has and make some purchases there as well. So, as I mentioned already, throughout the event, we'll be drawing for door prizes. So if you haven't already, please do add your name to the draw jar that's at the VegFest table. Like I said, there's some awesome prizes. And grab a, what's it called, program. I didn't write that word down, so I forgot it. And our friend Adrien, you can see here, is going to be shooting video of the event. We'll be using that to live stream some of it on Facebook throughout the day. And we'll also post those videos to Instagram after the event if you guys are interested in watching it again or sharing it with friends or whatever. If you take any photos today and you'd like to share them with us, you can send them to us via social media at saskatoonvegfest@gmail.com, or you can just use the hashtag SaskatoonVegFest when you share them publicly on social media. And we'll also probably have some team members going around taking some pictures as well, so just let us know if you don't want to be photographed. Thank you so much for being patient as I did all those introductions. We're so glad that you could come, and we'd love to have more people involved in planning. So another thing we have set up at our VegFest table at the front there, it's Ben that's sitting at it right now, and Liv just gave you guys a wave. It's just, if you are interested at all in planning, organizing, presenting, or performing next year, or maybe you know somebody who is, or you have some ideas, we have a sign-up sheet on the VegFest table, and any skill that you have is valuable to our team. There's so many different roles in planning a VegFest, and we'd be happy to have you join us in planning. There's also a box over there where you can submit your suggestions and feedback. So if there's things that you'd like to see happen in 2022 for the VegFest, maybe you know of a great venue or bands, speakers, vendors, anything like that, just jot it down for us, and we'll really appreciate all that feedback and information. And if you do want us to follow up with you, if you have suggestions, just add your name and contact info to the piece of paper. So if you don't have a program in front of you, I'm just going to kind of give you a rundown of what it looks like. We broke our schedule today into 3 segments that are separated by 10-minute breaks. So we're going to start with a speaker, Erica Patmore, and a food demo and dance performance by Carrie Alba. And then after the first break, we're going to come back with Liv White's Letter to the Animals, Seitan food demo with Ben, a speech from youth activist Sage, and a dance performance by Liv White. Then we're going to take another brief intermission, and then we're going to return to hear how Erica's experience in 4-H shaped her approach to activism. We'll learn how to make tofu sour cream with Jordan and Aria, and finally we'll join Adele in a joyous interactive dance. And throughout, you'll be regaled by me with various tales about my vegan activist mom journey. I think VegFests are a great way to come together as a community and enjoy time together, and I'm so happy to see it happening in Saskatchewan. For those of us who are vegan, it's nice to be in a vegan bubble for a few hours, and for those of us who aren't vegan, it's an opportunity to learn and explore what veganism is all about. So let's have some fun celebrating veganism.